fight.
I'm Alex the Great, young king with the thunder. Crossed Asia like a speedrun, made him pass, go under. Start from Macedon, ended up in Persia. Oops, map got flipped from Greece to India. World tour, no skip. Written glory 20, my army's insane. Phalanx lined up, I redefined the game. Ask Egypt and Babylon, I'm stamping my name. Step back, Hannibal, your elephants look lame.
I am Hannibal Barca, Carthage shadowed storm, crossed Alps with elephants. Redefined the norm, Rome felt my rapid cannon. 30,000 fell, taught generals a lesson that history will tell. I speak of patience, wisdom older than your height. While you chase glory, I craft victories like a type. Puberty can fuel your delusions and ambition. I'm the general they call the birth of war invention.
Yo, I split the world in half like my name in the book.
Precious goblins, every last stick, empty stocks, empty shelves, greedy tricksters, was cheap, nice, precious. The precious. The precious. Gone from the shelves. AI goblins, every last.
It's been a week since LTX 2.3 dropped, and I know a lot of people are still trying to figure out a good workflow. If that's you, this video might help. So quick recap, what's LTX 2.3? Basically, it's the upgraded version of LTX 2. The big thing, it's an open source model that can now generate video with native audio. And it's kind of an all-in-one deal. You only need this one model for basically any type of video generation. It's lightweight too, supposedly even runs on 4 GB VRAM as long as your system RAM is solid. And they also claim that the new model comes with some notable updates, especially when it comes to audio quality. The previous model's audio, native audio, was kind of meh. Now it's much improved. On top of that, the overall visual quality got some upgrade too. Now, the quality, well, it's kind of in the middle. Some people think it's pretty good, some people think it's unusable. Personally, just having an open source video and audio model like this is already a win for me. Anyway, today I want to show you how to get the most out of this model using the workflow I've been using. This is probably the most stable and complete workflow I've found online. It was made by a member of the LTX2 community, and they set up different workflows depending on what you need. It's way easier to set up and run than anything else I've tried. Alright, so first things first, let's talk about the model itself. So the official LTX actually ships in a few different variants. First, there's the dev version, also called the unquantized model. This is basically the full version, the highest quality one. It runs on the default parameters like it's supposed to, and it uses the full model without distillation. That means it's heavier, slower, and bulkier. Then there's the distilled version. This is a speed-up version for faster generation. The quality will slightly degrade, but for those who are looking for speed, this model is usually the go-to. You can also use LORA to speed up the dev version and distill it so it runs faster. Most of us don't exactly have a 40 GB GPU lying around, so for many, this version is basically not an option. There's also the GGUF model, which is basically a quantized version available in both dev and distilled forms depending on your hardware. So it can run on cards with 24 gigs or less. This is the one most people use, and the official ComfyUI setups are based on this model and also the FP8 version. Finally, there's the Transfomer version. This version separates the audio and video, which are usually packaged together in the main model. Separating them gives you better control over the audio, and this is exactly what today's workflow is based on. We're using the Transfomer version for better control. Even though it looks huge, it can actually run on any VRAM as long as you have enough system RAM to offload it. Minimum requirements, they say at least a 12 GB of GPU with 30 gigs RAM or 6 gigs GPU with over 64 gigs RAM. So if your system is on that list, it's definitely worth giving this a try. Alright, so I'm assuming ComfyUI is already installed and ready to blow up. If not, no worries, you can find installation guides just about anywhere or check out some of my older videos on this channel. The only thing we need to do before opening the workflow is update ComfyUI itself and the custom nodes. Here's how I do it. Go to the folder where ComfyUI is installed, main folder, and then I can choose the update folder. You'll see some update options. What we actually need is to update the ComfyUI front end only, not anything else, because updating the wrong thing can brick ComfyUI pretty badly. So yeah, just pick the front end. Next up, we also need to update the custom nodes. So I go into ComfyUI, pick the custom nodes section, and update the KJ nodes. If you don't have them installed yet, just check out any tutorial on installing custom nodes, or you can install them from the manager later and then update them. Once that's done, you're ready to roll. All right then, now we're going to download the workflow from here. Shout out to Rooney who made this wonderful, easy-to-use workflow. Once we load it into ComfyUI, it might ask for missing custom nodes if you don't have them installed yet. No problem, just go to the manager, pick Install Missing Custom Nodes, and all the required nodes will be listed there. I will make sure to install every Also, make sure the KJ nodes are updated to the latest version if you haven't done that yet. Just exit, go back to the custom folder I mentioned earlier, and update them there. I really like this workflow because the structure is super easy to understand, especially if you're new to ComfyUI. It doesn't turn into a spaghetti noodle monster, and you can actually see what each part does. That makes it way easier to learn and experiment without getting totally lost. Once all the required models are downloaded, I just place them in the right folders. For example, diffusion models go in the diffusion folder, LORA goes in the LORA folder. Text encoders go in the text encoder folder, VAE goes in the VAE folder. Also, LTX2 comes with an upscaler for sampling, and that one goes in the latent upscale model folder. So for model selection, there are basically two options, the dev model and the distilled model. If I'm using the dev model and want it to run a bit faster, I can use the distill LORA. This way, I get a speed boost without having to fully distill it myself. The distilled model, on the other hand, is already optimized for speed. It doesn't need any extra distillation because it's baked into the model. Adding more steps here usually won't make a big difference. With the dev model, you can still increase the number of steps if you want more detail, but just keep in mind it will take longer. So this is the basic text-to-video setup using native audio, which means the audio is generated directly by the model. Down here, we've got the resolution parameters. Usually, the pixels need to be divisible by 32 or 64. If not, the resolution gets slightly adjusted. For example, a 1280x720 video might get trimmed a few pixels to round it to 704. Next, this is the length or duration of the video, which is already calculated based on the number of frames needed, and here's the FPS. Adjusting any of these parameters really depends on your hardware. It's usually a good idea to test the lowest resolution first to see how it runs. But for comparison, I've actually tested full HD 1920x 1080, 10 seconds, 60 FPS, and a 24GB GPU with 48GB RAM handled it just fine. Now for low VRAM setups and the GGUF version, here's what I do. You can activate this node to chunk the generation. It's slower, but it reduces RAM usage a lot. For the GGUF model, all we really need to do is swap in the GGUF loader node and use the GGUF version of the model. In this case, that means we need the GGUF diffusion model and the GGUF text encoder, including the LLM prompter GEMMA. So basically, we only need to change these two nodes for GGUF. Everything else stays the same. Even if the workflow has different modes like image to video or first last frame, the only changes you really need are the diffusion loader and the text encoder. Alright, now let's take a look at another workflow. This is 3-in-1 setup, text to video, image to video, and custom audio. So if I just want text to video, I turn off the image input. If I want custom audio, I switch on the custom audio route and it automatically reroutes the audio input from here. I can set the duration for all generation right here, and if I want to cut the start of the video, I just use this node and enter the start duration. These are counted in seconds. The only difference here is that this workflow defaults to using external audio, so if I want to use the internal or native audio, I have to switch this manually. That way, the input audio comes from the latent audio instead of the custom audio processor. The old version of FTX is using GEMMA as prompt helper and takes a lot of hardware resources, since LTX2 prompts is very literal. That makes it a bit tricky to work with if you try to use minimal prompts. They really depend on long, detailed formatting. But sometimes they get too literal, and your prompt cannot work because it's overspecified, and it suggests things you don't include in your prompt. For this new version, I tested it many times by bypassing the VLM prompter and used just a simple prompt like mostly image generator does. Apparently it works just fine. Usually we'll get this morph and subject hallucinations so bad with a simple prompt like this, so I think it has some improvement.
Have you ever heard Chuck Norris makes onion pie? Or Who want a tad? My tears cure cancer. Too bad I've never cried. And don't let me get started. Have you ever heard Chuck Norris makes onion cry? Or I can draw on a fish?
Even so, when you want to build a complex scene and it came back, using free VLM tools like this can save RAM conservatively on complex scene. There are also a lot more workflows you can try, like first last frame, first middle last frame, and a few others. Some of these are heavier though because they have to process multiple image latents at once, sometimes 2 or even 3. There's also things like the first sampler only workflow and a few other variations. The creator actually updates this workflow collection pretty frequently, so once you're comfortable with the basic ones, you can start experimenting with the others. But then the real question is it worth it? Well, if you think about it, no video generation model out there, even the expensive ones, can reliably hit something like an 80% success rate on a prompt. Even if you have a lot of credits, you'll still end up doing a lot of retries just to get the result you want. Credits alone don't really solve that problem. For example, creating short scenes like this, around 3-4 minutes, is actually pretty doable without worrying too much about strict duration limits like you might see in other models. The quality might not always match the very top models out there, but native audio support, LORAS, and the lightweight high-resolution capability are all really nice advantages, especially if you have the hardware to run it. And one thing I've noticed is that the model was probably trained on a lot of older movie footage because sometimes that old movie look just pops up in the results. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it for this workflow. All the links are in the description, so feel free to give it a try. That's it for today. See you guys next time.